I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
Let me make sure this Yo.
What's up?
What's up, bud?
Oh, not much. How you guys doing?
Good, man. You jealous I'm eating Pop-Tarts or what?
Dude, I'm hungry and I am jealous.
All right, so here we are. Welcome back. First episode, we have a special guest. No, it's not Emma Young. It's actually Taylor Leipzig. What's up, bro?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Good,
What's
man.
up?
Good. What's going on with you?
Nothing, bro. Just settling in. I just moved to Tampa like 3 weeks ago now, so getting settled in still and moving in. The apartment's still kind of getting worked on. You got to get some furniture and stuff, but got a couch and a bed, so that's all you need, and a kitchen, right? That's it.
Yeah, right.
Kitchen's the most important thing anyways.
Yeah, that's all you need.
I saw your Instagram story the other day, and I think it was like you trying to build something, and I just felt so bad for you because that's like my worst nightmare.
Yeah, bro. That was the last thing I wanted to do. But yeah, it's all put together, bro. Look at this thing. It took that stand, bro, that took 2 hours. And we had 2 people working on it together. And it still took 2 hours, bro. And we had a YouTube video.
Where'd you buy it from? IKEA?
Walmart, bro. Walmart.com, dog.
I swear to God, like every time I've ever built any piece of furniture from IKEA, I just want to blow my brains out by the end of it.
Yeah, dude, it's terrible. Yeah, I mean, if you can find a YouTube video, bro, that helps a lot. Because those directions suck, man. I couldn't have done it without the video. Maybe
yeah.
But,
how do you like Tampa so far? It's only been a few weeks that you've been down there.
Yeah, man. Well, the main thing is it's hot. You know, I'm a northerner, so I'm from way up there and not used to this like humidity and stuff. So I actually I was like in the low 240s and I'm all the way down to like 235 right now just because I've been sweating. I can't keep up with the water like drinking, and then also like I get really especially on leg days, dude, I get so nauseous, like I throw up sometimes, bro. It's so bad, and then I lose like another 2 pounds so sucks. But
I mean,
yeah.
That's probably a combination of obviously like the difference in the temperature, the heat, your body adjusting, but also like I would imagine you're probably training pretty hard after just turning pro. So like, yeah, I'm not surprised you're throwing up.
Yeah, it sucks, man. But yeah, man, it's been all right. It's a nice area for sure. Just the traffic too is another thing that's hard to get used to because like back home, you know, like it would be like every time you went somewhere, it's like 15 minutes. But here it's like one time it might be 10 minutes and then the next time it's like 25 minutes, depending on how you hit traffic. So that kind of sucks because like it's just, you know, and the lights are like really long and all that kind of stuff. And people just drive kind of not cool around. You just got to get used to it, bro. Like I sold my truck. Luckily, I couldn't imagine living down here with a truck, bro. I bought a Toyota Corolla. So I'm a true city.
Hey, it's efficient.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a Tesla right now, Model 3, just because it's been so efficient, but I'm not going to lie. It's kind of annoying because like the battery, like any other type of battery, wears down over time. So maybe now I only get like barely 280 miles per full charge. So it's almost like, okay, how far can you really go until you have to plug in again?
Yeah. Do you charge that in your garage?
So I have like a charger available, but I actually go to like this little strip center where they have a supercharger because it charges from like 0 to 100 in like 25 minutes. So it's just a lot quicker. And then ironically, like in that same little plaza, there's my barber plus a PetSmart. So sometimes I'll go get my dog food, go get a haircut, and basically just like knock off 3 things in one fall swoop.
Yeah, that's nice, bro. Yeah, a lot of Teslas down here up where I'm from, they don't really drive them because it's too cold in the winter, and you'd probably only get like 100-mile range on those bad boys up there. So,
where are you from originally?
Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty northern. I'm from northern Michigan, so I was like,
dude, yeah. You're from the UP?
No, so I'm
okay.
I'm about 50 miles south of the Mackinac Bridge.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
yeah, like, you know my coach, right? You used to train at that powerhouse in East Lansing?
Yeah.
So that's where we started.
Yeah, bro. That's crazy. I was training there because I was staying with Jeremy for like a month. I just like it was a 6-hour drive for me to Jeremy. Yeah. And I was like, bro, like I'm gonna just take off work. I actually quit my job, bro. Like I just quit my job. I was like, bro, I'm going
4 months, you said.
Yeah, I'm going all in this prep, bro. I'm quitting my job. I didn't even like what I was doing anyways. So I quit my job. I drove to Jeremy's and I was like, so every day he saw me and I was training at that powerhouse. and I was pretty much dialed in, bro. It was sick. It was really sick.
So I'll
But
tell you a little bit of background. And Justin, obviously, like, so for those of you guys watching, we all met. Well, Justin and I knew each other for years. We met Taylor at North Americans. Justin obviously won his pro card and overall. Taylor the same. I think I'm just the people's champ at this point. But basically, Taylor and I met because I had seen your photos of the overall you won at a Michigan show. So I originally thought you were like a Michigan guy like us. I was like, oh, this is my guy, you know? And then I come to find out when we met backstage, like obviously, okay, kind of like you just said, you had quit your job full time. You were living with your coach, which I mean, that in itself, like, is a huge move, but like, look at where it got you. So it's kind of sick, actually.
yeah. Yeah, I wonder sometimes if it would have played out the way it did. I don't know if the overall would have happened. Because I was so dieted down, bro. Like, having a coach have eyes on you all day, every day, dude, it was like perfect, bro.
Well,
But
it's
Yeah,
like,
there's like no room for mistakes. There's like
yeah,
no cut. There's nothing you can do. Like
yeah,
you're
yeah.
you
Like,
have
it's even, dude, even if I wanted to cheat, like if I wanted to, dude, he's right there, bro. He said he joked with me. I don't know if he actually did, but he said he put a camera up in the kitchen, bro.
to.
So I'd wake up, bro. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm so hungry right
okay,
now.
wait, I gotta ask you guys this. What's the like worst or most down bad you've ever been during a prep with like a food craving? Because I know what mine is, and it was so embarrassing that I got caught doing this. But like when you just said the kitchen's in the camera, okay, I'll tell my story first. Is I was dating this girl and I was living at her place and I was in prep. And like in the middle of the night, I would wake up and I would go to the cupboard and I would take a jar of peanut butter out and I wouldn't eat it because I wasn't going to cheat on my diet, but I would smell it and just like smell it
Yeah.
a couple times and put it back.
Like in the kitchen, like sniffing
Just
shit.
literally like hunched over in my boxers, just like looking like I was guilty as fuck. And then ironically, one time I'm doing it and she walks out and she's like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, it's not what it looks like. And she's like, are you smelling peanut butter? I was like, yeah.
You
And
wouldn't understand. Yeah.
that was probably the most down bad I've ever been in a prep, like not cheating on my diet, but just like having cravings. And somehow that satisfied it. But I know that's crazy.
I mean,
I
Justin, you
don't
go
really
ahead.
have anything crazy like that. Like, I mean, I've had times where I was like, God, I want to eat everything or anything right now. But I don't think I've ever done anything like real weird. Like, I've definitely like, there's been times like Liz got a cheat meal and I would like go out to eat with her and get it. Like, she gets a burger and fries, and I'm literally just sitting there drinking water. And I was like, let me just like smell it before you eat it.
Yeah.
Like, I've done that before for sure. But other than that, I don't like have anything too crazy.
Taylor, what do you got? Any
Yeah, I got some
weird prep
crazy stuff,
stories?
bro. Yeah, like my first prep, actually, I cheated on my diet all the time, bro. I would that one, it was peanut butter too. It's always peanut butter, bro. Like it's always that.
Yeah, I
But
don't
it
know
would
why.
be like I would just go and because I was living with my parents at that time. So
Mhm.
like, dude, they had snacks, galore in the cabinet. So
Yeah.
I'd go upstairs, bro. I'd be half asleep, and then I'd go in the pantry and I'd dip just Ritz crackers and peanut butter. That's pretty basic. But this last prep though, I mean, probably like the weirdest thing, dude, was, and now I see everyone doing this, but I would do like the cream of rice and then the like whey drip on top, like frosting.
Mm.
And then I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
watch, dude, I would watch these. Actually, I know what I would do now. I would watch these, like, what's that guy's name? Eric the
The
Electric,
electric.
bro. Yeah, I would watch him and I would turn on the cheesecake ones, bro. And then I would just imagine I'm eating cheesecake, bro. That's
Okay. It's funny you say that because I have one of my homies, Jordan, who absolutely loves watching like these mukbang videos on YouTube, whatever type of
yeah.
just like people eating food. And I was like, why is that so satisfying? And then during a prep, I found myself watching the same type of
Yeah.
shit. And I'm like, okay, this is psychologically just weird that I'm spending my time watching someone else eat food I'm not eating. I'm like, what am I doing?
No, it's really weird, dude. I would never watch that now, but it's just, your brain.
Say it again.
It's just like your brain, how it works, bro. Like you're just craving that, and you just watching other people do something you want to do is like rewarding.
Wait, hold on. Say that part again. I think it cut out, or maybe it was just my internet. But what'd you say?
I just said that like watching people do something that you really want is rewarding in those
Yeah.
times, bro, because you're just like craving it so bad. But I actually this last prep, I actually so I would hate having high days. Like when I had cheat meals, bro, it would make me so hungry after.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like 4 days out. We were about to drive to Pittsburgh the next day. And the worst thing I did was when I went to like Eastland, the powerhouse there, there's a GNC right next to it.
Okay.
So I'd walk there after, dude, and just stock up on these weird protein snacks that I thought were good because then I was gonna eat them like after.
Yeah.
So I had a ton of them, dude. And I remember the like 4 days before, or a day before we left for Pittsburgh, it was like 4 days before the show. I had a refeed meal. It was like Five Guys, and I was so hungry, bro. I woke up in the middle of the night, dude, and I actually cheated on my diet. I ate 3 protein bars and dipped them in almond butter, dude. And then the next day, I was so bloated, dude. And I was like, Jeremy, bro, I don't know why I'm like, I don't know why I'm so bloated today, bro.
If
And
Jeremy's listening right now, he's gonna know exactly why.
dude, I actually, the funniest thing is I was like, I'm not gonna tell him, I'm not gonna tell him. And then
Yeah.
right when I won the overall, he came back and I was like, dude, I cheated on my diet 4 days ago. That was the first thing I said to him. And
It worked.
he's like, dude, I knew it, bro. But yeah, just
So
having that
funny.
stuff around is just terrible, bro. You can't do that. And that's a nice thing now. Like now, because Emma's kind of, she's like the same way too, where she is pretty strict with her diet. And so not having that stuff around is the key, I think. I shouldn't have been buying that stuff, bro. That was the worst thing I could have done.
Yeah.
Dude, I made it such a big point when I'm in prep not to buy anything because it's so much harder when it's like in the pantry. Like
Oh,
whether you look at it or like actually eat it or not, like it makes it so much worse when it's there. So like
Yeah.
sure.
when I first started competing, I was like Instagram food porn constantly, like looking at food and like buying shit for after the show. And now like I refuse to buy anything. Like I'm like, I don't want to see food. I don't want Pop-Tarts in my pantry. Like I try to keep no bad food because I'm like, the less I look at it, the easier it is for me not to like think about it. Like I'm already getting hungry. Like I don't need to tease myself or like make it, accessible. Like I've had a couple dreams in prep before where I cheated on my diet in my dream and I woke up so scared and angry that I like did it and I had to think and I'm like, okay, that wasn't real. Like I'm in bed, I'm sleeping, like I didn't actually do it. So I always do my best not to have it like in the house at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate that, bro. Like that's the one thing I probably hate most about prep is I hate being like having something control my brain and how I think. And it gets to a point where food is like controlling you, and I think that is the thing I hate most. And after prep too, it stays that way for like a month or so still. And I just hate having that weird feeling of like it's almost like an eating disorder, bro. But I mean, most people would probably classify it as that, but it's like all you want to do is like look at food and eat. Like you go to the grocery store and that's how you still have it. If you go to the grocery store and you're like looking around everywhere, that's how you're still like food obsessed, and it goes away. Like now, dude, I hate food, bro. Like I don't even want to eat,
Is,
but yeah.
isn't it funny how like we always want, we don't have. So like when we're cutting and I think I was at maybe like 1900 calories. So of course I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait for the day my coach gives me 400 grams of rice. And then now it's like, I'm eating 400 grams of rice and I'm like,
Yeah.
eh.
Right.
So, so I think we've talked about how Justin and I both got to North Americans before. I mean, I kind of touched on obviously you winning that overall show in Michigan, but Taylor, why don't you talk about kind of like your journey to get to North Americans? Because obviously, like winning a show to get there is one thing, winning an overall is another, but then winning the overall at North Americans is a whole nother level.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess it started like my first show I did the Western at in 2023 in Michigan. It was the Western Michigan NPC. And I actually took second in my class in that show. And I mean, I guess it's because I was probably like I said, I was cheating on my diet and I was still like pretty fresh, bro. At that point I was only bodybuilding for like probably about a year and some change at that point. So like I was still not like fully developed. Like there was weak points and all that kind of stuff. Plus the guy who beat me, bro, he's crazy actually. His name is I'm friends with him now actually. His name's Abdullah, but he yeah, so he beat me in class C. So then I was like, okay, like, and it was cool. I'm glad that happened, bro. That was the best thing that could have happened to me was getting beat. So that I have like fire under my butt, bro. That just lit a fire underneath me. And after that, I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I put my nose down, bro, and I just like dog, bro. I was like, I'm not ever letting that happen again. So then the next year I put on some good size and then talking to Jeremy, we honestly, dude, like I think the weeks of prep for North Americans was only about I think 14 or 15 weeks. Like that was my whole prep was only that. And then for Kalamazoo, it would have been only like 12 weeks or so because that was about a week and a half before.
Okay, yeah. I know the shows were relative.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, but I was pretty lean that off season. I didn't get too fat, so it wasn't a big deal. But yeah, but anyway, yeah. So did the Kalamazoo as like a warm up because I've only been on stage once and I didn't even win it. So I was like, okay, I gotta make sure I, at least take the overall at a stage show before I go to nationals.
Right.
But we had our eye on North American, and then I won the overall there, and then I was like, okay. And honestly, bro, like that show, I was still a little bit not as conditioned as I knew I had to be. So that whole week and a half I was with Jeremy, dude, it was probably the longest week and a half of my life. Like that week and a half of prep, the last week and a half there felt like 2 months,
Yeah.
because you know how it is when you're in
You're
that last
depleted.
few
You're
weeks and you're
tired.
getting depleted, right? Right. Plus I knew that, like, in my eyes, bro, I was hoping for top 5 placing in my class. That's what I was like hoping for, because
Yeah.
it was my first national show, and Jeremy was talking to me about that too. He's like, bro, be grateful if you get top 5. So
Being
obviously,
realistic.
yeah, in my head, I was like, okay, bro, like I want to win this, but
Yeah, yeah.
I've never been to one. I didn't know what the competition looked like. And honestly, even when I got there, I was like, bro, I'm gonna get smoked. So
That's crazy you felt that way coming into it, because I'll just tell you my perspective on it. And going back to those photos of your overall win in Kalamazoo, like I saw those photos and I immediately was like, oh shit, this is going to be a tough guy to beat. And obviously, like I'm just trying to get out of my class. I'm not even thinking about an overall, but I'm looking at you and I'm like, this guy's got a great package, And obviously at North Americans, I mean, think about it too. There's so many great physiques there. I mean, the guy who won my class, absolutely phenomenal physique. Even we can throw out the name John Schwartz, who was there, who looked the best he ever did and didn't win his pro card. So many good qualified athletes there. And for you to like admit that you felt like, okay, maybe I'll get top 5 is crazy. Cause like I looked at you, I was like, this is probably the dog right here.
well, thanks, bro. I mean, yeah, but it's
Yeah.
just, dude, like I think also having that body dysmorphia makes you it's kind of it has a bad side and a good side, right? I feel like a lot of times I'm not I shouldn't say
Not good enough. We talked about this.
yeah, I feel like sometimes, bro, it's like very hard to be like happy with where you're at when you
Yep.
have that, because you're always looking forward. And I'm gonna be honest, bro, even when I won North Americans and how that went, dude, like I just was not expecting it to go that way. And so after that hill, like after I got over that hill, it felt like now I was looking up at Everest, because now I'm like against the best in the world. Justin, you probably know how, I mean, I'm guessing you.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Like as soon as I won, I like now I'm like we're at the bottom of the mountain again. Like we're like
Yeah.
we got to a summit and like now we still have so much further to go. And it's like getting where we are was like hard enough. Like and I love it, but it's like
Yeah.
now we're at the very bottom. Like we're nobodies again. Like
Yeah.
going into the show, people know you. Like everybody like is rooting for you. You're kind of like you're not an underdog, and now we're the underdog. Like we're nobody. And so
Yeah.
like it pushes me to work hard because I'm like I just have to be insane to be able to even get on the pro stage with these guys and not make a fool of myself. So it's like I mean it's literally a whole new league.
I
Whole new
think, well, I think for all of us, like when you have this high standard you set for yourself, whether it's in bodybuilding, your professional career, or anything really, it's like obviously you believe you can achieve it, right? And so the hardest part is kind of like Taylor and I talked about this maybe 2 weeks ago, where I mean, for me, I almost didn't even compete at North Americans just because I was 16 weeks into prep and I literally felt like I was doing everything right, checking all the boxes, but I just literally felt like my best wasn't good enough. And so I didn't want to go to my first pro qualifier and make a fool out of myself, make a fool out of my coach. Like I wanted to represent myself good enough. And so when Taylor's like saying he was hoping for top 5, I mean, literally I was just hoping for first call out type thing, so I could see where I stood, where the gaps were in my physique. And obviously, like we've talked about, yeah, we show up to win, but I also had to be realistic that like I know I belong on that stage competing with those guys, but I'm not ready to win just yet. And so that was kind of that hard pill to swallow of the reality for me, like from North Americans. But it was also such a blessing in disguise, because I look at the dude that beat me and I'm like, oh, okay, this is exactly what I got to look like. Or I see Taylor, I'm like, oh, that's what you got to look like to win the overall. Cool, got it. Let's go back to work.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
for
for
me, it
sure.
was like, I don't know. I guess it was just like a blessing that I didn't quit prep and that my coach was basically encouraging me the whole way, saying, you belong on the stage. Are you ready to turn pro? No, I'm not going to lie to you, but you need to see where you stand. And so to me, I mean, obviously I wouldn't have met Taylor had I have not done that show. Probably, maybe I would have. But the point is like that show was such a blessing in disguise for me that like, I don't know, maybe I'll go back and take another stab at North Americans for my next pro qualifier. Who knows?
Yeah, man, that's a
Yeah.
cool show too, because
I talk about those losses, like those losses mean a lot. Like those are like, you know, Taylor said he got second in his first one. He's like, I'm not fucking doing that again. Like
Yep.
that happened to me. Like I was pissed after USA's last year.
Yeah, I was there.
I almost fucking fought someone afterwards. There's a little bit of a story for that. It wasn't like me just being a complete psychopath, but somebody did something at the worst time possible. But anyways,
That's
like
another story.
yeah, that's another little story. But yeah, those like losses are like, you know, not being the best. I feel like that personally, like Taylor said, like that lights a fire under my ass. This whole last year, I was like, I have to fucking do everything perfect because I'm not gonna get on a national stage and lose again. Because that is, I hate that feeling. Like I love winning, and I almost expect it, not from a cocky standpoint, but like you said, like I get on stage to win, not to just be there. But losing is like, there's nothing I hate as much as losing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Especially when you put, for lack of better words, all your eggs in one basket, which you have to be all in to be good at this high level. So it's like when you invest all your time, your energy, your money, your emotional, your physical, your mental, if you don't get the outcome or the results you want, of course you're going to be disappointed. Like you care. How could you not be?
Yeah,
So
we put so much into this and sacrifice a lot of stuff for this.
it's funny now too, obviously, like again, like from the outside looking in, if you just saw Taylor's photos, you're like, oh my God, this is the next C-bum, right? Like that's probably what people were saying. But then when you genuinely hear him like admit, like, dude, I was just aiming for top five. I didn't think my physique was the best one there. But like obviously, I mean, if you look back at even some of the other classes in classic physique of guys you beat, it's insane.
yeah, man. There's a couple things too that I really learned this prep out of and every other one of them. Well, the only other one of them I did, but this one was I mean, I got the leanest I've ever been in my life, dude. Like I was pretty like I mean, I was all the way down to 198 pounds, bro. And I haven't been 198 pounds in like probably like 3.5 years. I mean, since I've been not natural pretty much. It's been like that's how long it's
How
been.
tall are you?
5'10" and an eighth. So I get
Oh,
in just into class C. Like
Just
otherwise
right
I'd be in
there.
class B.
I'm
They gave me the
5'7"
eighth
and
though,
I
dude.
weighed in at 198 for North Americans.
What did you weigh?
I weighed 198 for North Americans.
Oh, this year?
Yeah,
How tall are you though?
5'7".
Yeah. So yeah, I mean pound for pound, that's I mean pound for weight, right? Because what do they say? How many pounds per inch is like equal? Is it like 8 pounds per
Oh,
inch?
I don't know that one.
Oh, I think it's like 8 pounds per inch or something like that. Like that's what.
Yeah,
But
I think you're right.
That sounds familiar. I feel like I've heard that before.
yeah, but so yeah, I mean, I was and my weight cap for amateurs was 209. So I was like, dude, like that's why I thought I was gonna get smoked because I was thinking
You
about like,
felt like you were undersized.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I know how that goes.
Yeah. Yeah. And now my weight cap's up at 219. So like now it's even now I got I mean, I didn't weigh in at that was the most depleted I got was 198. I was actually
Yeah.
like 203 when I weighed in, but it was pretty cool because I was like eating into the show. Like I didn't have to worry about a weight, you know. So I could like start carbon up early, which was nice. But yeah, man. So I got a long ways to go. Like I think in the pro league for classic, like you have to be within 4 pounds of cap, I think, like to be like if you're trying to qualify for the O, bro, like you want to be like pretty much right there. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's the other thing too about like stage weight versus tissue you put on. I think that you can put on like I got like 16 pounds of stage weight I can add, but that's different than muscle because muscle that could be like 20 pounds of muscle. But when you dehydrate that, you know, because muscle is like 90% water. So once you dehydrate that muscle, bro, it gets like it's not the same as like stage weight. You know what I'm saying? Like you can really mess with your weight with muscle tissue because it's like you can deplete carbs, deplete water, and all that. So really, dude, I think I got a lot of room to grow. So
What's your
good,
weight
but
right now?
right, well, like I was up in like low 240s like before I left, but now I'm like 235 in the morning.
Okay.
So yeah, that was hard, man. That was really hard to see that weight drop, but yeah. So, but I'm the heaviest I've ever been. Like last year, I was like I got up to like 220 8 or so, but I was a little chunkier than I am now. Like now I'm pretty dry, bro. Like I got veins all
Yeah, you
over.
look good still.
Yeah, so it's been it's that's the hardest part for me, man, is just eating. Cause like if I could eat like I mean, I'm struggling to eat 4,000 calories right now, to be honest. I know you guys probably like, oh, those are rookie numbers, bro, but
No,
yeah,
it's hard, bro. Anything over, I would say probably that 3,800 mark is where you're gonna start having to, for lack of better words, like force feed or even set a timer to eat your meals. Just, but it's like people don't realize that it genuinely is like a full-time job just getting the food in, whether you're cooking, cleaning, or eating or digesting. It's not easy.
yeah, yeah, for
It's a
sure.
lot. After this last prep, I was like, I thought I was gonna puke like all day, every day, just because the amount of like volume and food in my stomach and the amount of water I was drinking. It's I would like put a belt on and like bend over in the gym, and I'd be like, oh, and it's like I felt fine. It was just there was so much volume of food. It was hard.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
feel
agree.
that.
And I think the other thing too is like I've been really bad at it. I'm gonna admit it. Like during prep, I'm so dialed in with my like digestive drinks in the morning, bro. Like
Yeah.
I do all those bougie like gut health drinks, and you know what gets to those taste nasty, but like when you're starving, it's not that bad. But now it's like that's the last thing you want to drink is some nasty like apple cider vinegar, greens, you know,
Yeah.
whatever, dude. Like that, like I don't want to even taste that right now. But that's what I should now is the time where you really should be doing that, you know. So
Especially when you're eating so much food.
yeah,
That's Justin was telling me, and he was like, dude, he goes, there's really no difference between your off season and your in season protocols other than maybe supplementation, but you should still be focused on rest and recovery. You should still be doing your posing, still hitting some degree of cardio, still training just as hard and intense because you have more food in you. So like that's kind of the mindset I've been using lately. And then also too, like today I trained, I'm in Vegas right now. So I trained with one of my homies, but most of the time, like I'll train by myself. And it's not because I don't have good training partners or I enjoy training by myself. It's just almost like moving at your own pace. You don't have to worry about anything. It's just me, the weights, and my music. And that's almost more conducive to building the best version of myself. And when I say, obviously, I'm doing this for myself, that's what this is all about. So it's like I have to almost be selfish at a certain point with my training some days.
Oh, for sure. And like I'm picky about who I train with too. Like I don't I hate when people like when people if people like recognize you and they're like, oh, you're so and so from I've seen you on Instagram. Like we should get a workout in sometime. I'm like I like I don't know you. Like I don't want to work out with you. Like I have like this, especially now. Like we talked about, like we're at a new level. I was obviously serious before and like dialed in, but now I feel like I have to take it to another level. And it's like I don't want to waste a workout having you like talk to me
Yeah.
constantly and like not. And I want it to be someone who's like just as serious as I am, or someone who's more accomplished and more serious than me, so that I have to like level up and work up to them. Like sometimes I'm just like it's hard to train with certain people if you like don't have a if they're not like a good training partner or you don't know them well.
Yeah. Taylor, what about you though? Because I mean, you're training at MI40, and I mean, obviously, there's some of the top physiques in the world who train out of there. Have you been
sure.
training with anybody, or are you just kind of running it solo right now?
Yeah, honestly, dude, like I back home I had a lot of good guys that I trained with, and uh I think like I don't know, they were like they trained hard, but especially if they were training with me, bro, they knew they like it was like no messing around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here like well, I'm not really big on social media or nothing like that, and we can talk about that later, bro. So, like people around here don't know who I am, but like they kind of look at me like, dude, the guy kind of like I don't know, like they kind of look at me, but I know
They're
this
probably
one.
looking at you.
What's that?
So they're probably looking at you and they're like, okay, this guy's got a good physique. He looks like somebody. Who do we know him?
It's
Where do we
got to
know
be
him? You know,
somebody.
like trying to
Yeah,
piece it
that's how.
together
Yeah,
because you're like the new guy, you know?
yeah, yeah. But there's this one guy. I haven't trained with him yet. Ben Huge. I don't know if you
I
guys see
love
him.
Ben. Yeah. Great
Yeah, yeah,
physique.
yeah. I see him around all the time. And there's a few other dude. Like it's actually crazy because at these gyms here, I've been training at MI40 pretty much. But then there's this
Mhm.
other gym called Optimum Gym, which is kind of like it's more like it's a good like for hitting legs and stuff, but it's kind of a more of a like booty builder gym, if you know what I mean. So like it's like a lot of chicks there. But
Yeah.
that's also a good gym. But dude, like I'll see it's crazy because I'll watch like a YouTube video, bro. Like one day I was watching like Will Tennyson.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I watched like a YouTube video of him, and then the next day I was at MI40, bro, and I see him there. Like,
I
what?
thought you were gonna say you're like in the background training while he's like filming. You didn't even realize
Yeah.
like
No, not quite, but yeah, it was like the same thing though. Or like And then the other day I was watching an Anton video, Anton Swole or whatever, and he
Yeah,
was training with
Ratushny.
Anthony. Yeah, he's training with Anthony Mantello, bro. And then I see Anthony Mantello at the gym. So it's like, bro,
How's Anthony look in person? I mean, I know he's kind of tapered back on everything, and he
yeah.
just got his pro card a few months ago. He's kind of just like chilling right now, not really competing anymore, I think. But how do you look when you saw him?
Yeah, I mean, he was wearing sweats and a t-shirt, so but I mean, he was still training, so I'm guessing I think he's just kind of doing the kind of just getting healthy because I know I think I watched that video of he's like not gonna do competitive bodybuilding anymore, at least for
Yeah.
like now. And I totally, bro, like what he was saying, I was like, dude, that is so me, bro. Like how you eat and then sit on the rod on the couch the whole day, eat, sit and ride on the couch all day, go train, come back home, eat, sit and ride on the couch, bro. It feels like my life. And I totally get where he's coming from with that. But yeah, I mean, but yeah, he looked good, bro. Like all these guys is great. Or like the Trend twins, I'll see
Yeah,
I don't know which one. I think Mikey, but
Mike. Yeah,
him at my 40. But yeah, it's just crazy. I don't really say hi to him because I don't want to like bother what they're doing. But like
yeah.
it's
You
just
just
kind
stay
of
in your lane.
yeah. But it's cool seeing that though. I'm like, dude, it's almost distracting a little bit, Justin. Like, I don't know if you would even like that because you're seeing these people and you're like, bro, who is this? Like, I just saw he's like looks familiar, and it's like distracting almost. Or you'll be in the middle of a set and all of a sudden like you'll see them walk right in front of you, or I'm like, dude, what the like it's hard to
Yeah,
sometimes it's hard to like stay dialed in.
that was when I was out here living in Vegas and we'd go to the gyms. I mean, like I literally look to my right and I see Jay Cutler just hitting bicep curls, and like then
Yeah.
you double take, you're like, dude, that's Jay Cutler. Like, how can you not like? So obviously now I've met him a handful of times, and it's not like as much of like a starstruck type thing. But like again, you're just hitting your workout, and then you double take, and you're like, there's an icon of a human being standing
Yeah.
next to me. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, like straight one of one humans. It's wild. You think you're gonna stay down in Tampa? I know you guys just got down there, but you like it so far?
Um, I don't know if I was like stay down here for my whole life,
Yeah.
but I think I'm gonna miss like the temperature changes and things. It is getting nice down here though. I think today it got up to only like 65. It was like really nice, dude. And
Yes.
that temperature, bro, all year round, I could live with it. That's why like California would be such a good place to live if it wasn't for like all the things going on there. Cause dude, it's like San Diego 65 sunny. That's like my weather, bro. Like I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do miss like the cold and like stuff like that. And I think that that'll build over time. But I'm just trying to get used to this humidity and stuff right now. But we'll see, man. Like I think a couple years, I think that I moved down here kind of pretty much for like bodybuilding because it's big down here and the Tampa Pros here, the Hurricane Pros here. There's
Big
all the
show.
good shows. So yeah, and just to meet people and network, stuff like that. So, but we'll see,
Yeah.
man. I'm not really tied down to anywhere specific, but my family's all in Wisconsin and stuff. So,
Okay.
you know,
Well, if you ever get bored out there and you want to come sweat your balls off, I'm over in Arizona. You come visit me
yeah,
anytime. I
yeah,
tell
but
Justin every day.
that's nicer heat though. At least it's dry there. It's like
Yeah.
the humidity kills, man.
I'm not gonna lie,
And I
like the summers are hot when it's over 110. Yeah, it's hot, but like our winters, like even right now, it's like 65, 70, sunny. It's just beautiful. So it's like the perfect time of year.
Yeah, that's nice,
That's
man.
not even like winter.
No,
Yeah,
no. I'll have friends who come down from like Canada every year and they'll be like, hey, we're going to the W to lay by the pool. I'm like, bro, it's February, chill. Like, and they're like, yeah, no,
yeah,
it's sunny out though.
Yeah. Dude, 65, 70 and sunny, I could be that pool.
You guys got snow right now in St. Louis, huh?
Yeah, we actually do. Like, I don't know, an inch or two.
That's not bad.
Nothing bad. My hometown, I'm sure Wisconsin probably has it too. My hometown got like 15 inches in the last couple weeks.
yeah. Yeah, dude. I was actually at the beach that day, bro. I sent my dad a picture. I was at the beach, and then my dad sends me a video. He's snow blowing a foot of snow off the driveway, bro. And I was like, yeah, I don't miss that, but
Yeah,
it's also still fresh though. So
I relate to people who are still living in that colder climate because my parents are still there. Justin and I have both done it. You've done it. But it's just like when you recognize there's a better quality of life, like you said, your dad's scraping snow off his car and you're at the beach. Like you can't beat that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know though. Like, there is something to that though, bro. Like, there is like a snow day, like the vibes of a snow day. It is really nice. I mean, I just
Yeah.
grew up with it.
Yeah.
Justin, what do you think? I know, Scott. You like the warm weather and stuff, and you said I think you'll probably never move back. But Justin, you think you ever will?
Nah, never.
I'll never go back to Michigan. But I mean, I want to move somewhere with mountains. Like I love Colorado. I think I'd like.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Wyoming, Montana, but I think I would like those. Like I'm obsessed with the mountains, and so when I was in like Colorado, the winters I didn't think were that bad relative to where I'm from. I think, but I'm with Liz, and she's not a big fan of the snow and cold. So I think we're gonna like
Smart
compromise and go
girl.
to Texas at some part. Yeah, she loves Arizona, but I was like, I'm not big on the heat and the humidity like you. It's just I like, especially being like a heavy bodybuilder. Like I feel like I sweat if I look outside when it's hot. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Justin puts on his shirt and pants for the day, and he's walking out the door breathing heavy, sweating.
yeah, it's like, one you take a couple bites of a meal and you're sweating already. I'm like, it's not for me. And like Missouri is really humid, despite it being like in the middle of the country. It gets really humid here, and I fucking hate it so much. So I know I'm not going to be here forever, but I think with Liz, I'll probably compromise and like go to Texas or something at some point. But I'm not going back to Michigan. The town I'm from is so tiny. Like there's nothing there for me.
Yeah, it makes sense. I know Justin and we've talked about, obviously trying to get ready to do a pro debut, but just making sure that obviously you're confident in the package. Taylor, what are you thinking for the next time you get on stage? Because obviously, again, like there's no going backwards. You're a pro now. Like you got to play with the big boys. So
Yeah, I would love to do one this year, man, but I don't know if that's in the cards. I don't know exactly. Like it'll probably be like sometime early next year, I'm guessing, but we'll see. I haven't really talked to Jeremy too much about it. It's one of them things where it's kind of like I think he wants me to like put on the tissue and then like just absolutely hopefully like blow some smoke when I get out there. And I don't know if that that would happen quite yet this year. But I don't know. You know what I actually regret? I kind of like part of me wishes that I would have done a pro debut after North Americans last year, just because I was already in prep and like to just you if you like win the overall, I feel like that's kind of like you can go and see how you stack up against those guys. So then at least I would go out. And I know Justin, you said you hate losing, but sometimes, bro, like losing it's good too because
It's
like
one of
it
the best
trains you,
things
right?
for
that
you.
lesson.
As shitty
Yeah.
as it is a really good thing for your motivation and discipline and like drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going out like how it happened with me, bro, everything being so like surprise, like the whole show, like you win it. And it's like I thought it was a mistake, to be honest. Like I was like, I asked Jeremy, I was like, Jeremy, how much you pay the judges, bro? But like going out like that, dude, I was kind of like, what's next, bro? I don't even know if this is my prime. Like, will I ever be able to beat this again? This is, it's just crazy. Um, so kind of going out like that, bro, like my head was a little messed up. And I also
Me too.
had this point of, and I mean, Justin, you probably have it too, because you want to be so precise and move forward with everything and be better than you were before. But like there also is like kind of a curve with the like over analysis part of that where you kind of it like gives you anxiety because you're like, oh, I didn't drink enough water today, or like
Hyper analyzing things.
Yeah,
yeah, and
you
it
want to be like so perfect.
yeah. Yeah. And that almost makes things worse because you get this anxiety and your digestion goes to garbage and like all this stuff. And it stacks up on itself because now you're behind on your meals because you weren't hungry before. You're not digesting food. So it's kind of like one of those things where I had to learn just to chill out, because I was in such a rush and I still am. I'm not going to lie, but I was in such a rush to like grow and like get as big as I could in the shortest amount of time possible. But like sometimes you just gotta like just rely on what you're doing and just kind of keep moving. But
I'll
Yeah.
tell you something. One of my buddies said this to me yesterday, and it was relative to just a lot of things I have going on. But he goes, just remember, direction and speed are both important in what you're doing, where it's like, you're headed in the right direction, but maybe just adjust the speed at which you're going or have less of an expectation of the speed you should get there. And I thought that was good advice because obviously whether it's building my coaching business, building the apparel side of things, or even my physique, like I hate to say it, we all want it and we want it now. So it's like, not like any of us are afraid to put in the work, but like, yeah, I want to reap the benefits of my hard work sooner than later.
Yeah, and I think like you realize over time, like sometimes there's like you said, you're always moving in the right direction, but there's sometimes you got to pump the brakes a little bit, and sometimes you got to hit the gas, and it's like you got to know when to like be 100% balls to the wall, and then when to like taper back a little bit. And that's not that you're like stopping working or anything like that, but it's kind of like you go into the off season and you push with food and supplements, and then you got to come back a little bit, take a step back, get healthy, cut the subs out for a little bit. So you got to know when to like hit the gas real hard and when to like slow that speed a little bit. Still going in the same direction, but just slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think for you guys, again, you guys have already achieved the goal I'm trying to achieve. You guys are now on that next level. So kind of like you said at the beginning, where it's like, okay, cool, we climbed that mountain, but now here we are back at the bottom all over again. And so it's like, again, like we always talk about, there's levels to this shit, but also like you guys are clearly well aware of where you are now and where you see yourselves wanting to be before you're ready to get on that pro stage for the first time. So I get it.
Yeah.
Do
Well,
you
you,
get
Justin, what are you doing? When's your pro debut? Are you taking the year?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna compete in like 26. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do 212 or open because like right now I'm 5'7", like 225, and I'm like fake natty right now. I haven't been on gear for a couple months. Um, but I mean, those guys are big in the open, so I feel like I'm like on the edge of like almost too tall for 212 because those guys they're like 256 or shorter.
shorter?
But I'm
Yeah.
like at the bottom end of open. So I'm gonna take this year and at least the first half of next year and just try and grow as much as possible and stay healthy, and kind of see where my weight falls to determine. But I'm not competing before 26. Um, you know, I kind of want to go open if I can, and that's obviously depends on the progress and the weight I gain and stuff like that. But I'd like to go open. But I mean, if I can't be on stage at like 220, then I'm just going to be drastically outsized. So I'm not in a rush. I'm just going to work and eat and gain as much size as possible and kind of see where it goes. But until I can be like 220 on stage, I don't think I'm going to be competitive in the open.
That's what would be competitive for open for your height would be like around that
I
220.
mean, at least I think what Justin Shire won Chicago 2 years ago at like 220, 222. Uh,
Relative, yeah.
yeah, Martin Fitz was 230, 234 or something. And other than
Super
that, I
short.
don't think I know of any open guys that are lighter than that on stage. Brett Wilkins in the 270s right now, and he's 8 weeks out from a show basically, like as far as his conditioning, or closer. But I mean, those guys are big. Like, so if I can't be like 220 on stage, I don't think I'll be competitive. Conditioning's always been a strong point, but even if I'm 220 and shredded, and you got someone who's 230, 240, 250, there's no way I'm gonna beat them.
Yeah.
Let me ask
I
you
want
guys
to get
this.
first call outs when I compete in my first pro show. So I mean, I gotta grow if I'm gonna keep up with those guys.
Let me ask you guys this. Like, obviously, we put this immense pressure on ourselves to succeed and do well because we have the standard of where we see ourselves and what we want to achieve. But do you guys feel any like outside pressure at all for the next time you prep? Where, like, when I say that, I mean like you'll post on your Instagram 16 weeks out, and now everyone's watching you. And like, do you feel that pressure at all or no?
Well, for me, that is part of the reason I was talking about social media. Because I think a lot of these guys, man, like social media is a blessing and a curse, bro. Because like it's a blessing in this industry because you can make money with it, but it's also a curse because you have all these extra eyes watching.
Yeah.
And like for me, for instance, and I can't speak for anyone else, but like, dude, I didn't even really post much about my prep this time. I just stayed in the dark, and that's kind of how I like to be. Like, I just kind of like to do my own thing. I don't really like posting a bunch because it's like when I'm in that mindset, dude, I'm actually like, I watch these guys when they're in prep and I'm like, how are they even talking to a camera, bro? Like, I couldn't even do that. I wouldn't
Yeah.
function. Like, I'm not functioning like that. Like, if I'm not doing things I need to do to get to that point, like, I'm not doing it, you know? And maybe that's just kind of me being lazy, but it's just like, dude, I don't understand. I kind of give credit to him because I'm like, how do you have enough energy to make a full day eating when you're three
Yeah.
weeks out, bro? Like I feel like I can't even remember what I'm doing. Like, I don't know, but that's just me. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say because if I could make money doing that, like maybe that would give me the motivation and drive to do it. And I think it's also cool to document things because like in the future, like why why wouldn't you want to have something to look back on, at least for yourself, and just say like, oh, this is cool, like watch those things, like what you were doing, because like you don't remember it either. That's the thing. When you're done with it, like you don't remember the struggle or how you were thinking or anything like that. So but right now, like I don't know, man, the pressure from social media, like I myself am a bodybuilder. I'm not really a social influencer or whatever, but maybe like I might start doing a little more of that. But right now I'm kind of just chilling with that. I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah. Well, we were talking about like obviously like social media presence and things like that. And I mean, it's funny because I was talking to my mom the other day, and I guess she was going through some stuff in the basement, and she said something to me that kind of like resonated. She goes, "You've never grown up," and I thought it was an insult at first, but it was actually a compliment. And so I was like, "What do you mean?" she starts talking about how she was going through just like stuff in the basement the other day and found these old videos of like when I used to skate when I was like 12, 13 years old. And basically she was like, you would literally beg me to pick up you and your homies, take you to the skate park so you guys could go film videos. And she goes, and now you do the same thing, but you go to the gym. I was like, damn. I was like, I've never grown up. That is crazy. So it was actually such a compliment where like I guess I've always had this like creative side that I enjoy exercising, which is where I enjoy making content. And then Justin and I were talking about it where it's like if we're doing anything that we're posting, if it helps just one person, obviously then the benefit is clearly there. But I think the reason I ask about the social media pressure from the outside looking in is because obviously Sam Sulek just did his debut, which would probably have been the most highly anticipated, most talked about, most watched NPC debut we've ever seen. So like I can only imagine what type of pressure he felt to perform well
Right.
because the whole world was watching.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's I I I talked to someone about it because a lot of people were like kind of ripping on him, and like I can't remember if we talked about it or not, but
A little bit.
yeah, I was like, as far as the pressure, I don't follow him. I don't know what he posts. I don't know how he is or how he comes off. But from what I've seen, it sounds like he's not a cocky person. He never like hyped himself up like I'm gonna kill it or I'm gonna be a pro by the end of this year. So it sounds like he was humble, but all that outside pressure because of his following and how he looks created a ton of like external pressure on him. And so if he didn't come in looking like an absolute freak, then people were talking bad. And it's like he has work to do, but for a first timer at 23, like he looked phenomenal. Like I didn't look that good at 23, not
Me
even.
neither.
So like yeah, he's got work to do, but I think like you said, like the pressure on him from external sources was like everybody else was hyping him up. And so it was like almost unfair pressure in a sense because everyone else is talking him up like, oh, Sam's going to compete. And then he doesn't come in looking like, C-bum, and then people trash him. It's like, well, he didn't say he was going to be C-bum. He didn't say he was going to kill
We
everyone.
all said it. Yeah.
Yeah, to my knowledge, because I don't know. But he
Yeah.
like his age and for his first show, that's crazy. Like you take those factors in consideration, that's crazy. So it's interesting that he had that, that kind of pressure on him and those expectations without, I guess, putting it on himself. Like it wasn't, it just was part of the game for him.
Yeah, when you have such a large social media following like that, I think inherently, like, 50% of people are going to be rooting for you and 50% of people are going to be talking shit. But like, when I say, just wondering if you guys felt that pressure at all, I get why Taylor says what he says because he's not like the biggest social media guy. Justin, you have a bigger following than I, and I'm sure your DMs are more flooded than mine. So it's like, again, I see that too firsthand where like even I post Pop Tarts the other day and someone's like talking shit and like I don't really care because it doesn't affect me. They don't understand the process, the protocols, whatever. But at the same time, it's like it didn't get to me, but also like I'm clearly still talking about it. So it did have some impact. So I don't know.
Yeah, people, I think people, you're always gonna have people who hate, especially on stuff that they can't accomplish or they don't understand.
Yeah.
Personally, I get way more like 100 times more love and support from strangers than I do any negativity.
Mm-hmm.
The only negativity I get is on my political views. Really, I don't think I get much negativity on my bodybuilding stuff. So they're like, there is some pressure because like I do have so many people rooting for me and like complete strangers who know me from online or just send me message congratulating me like when last year and then when I didn't win and then also this most previous year 2024 when I did win, I got hundreds of DMs of people
Yeah.
congratulating people I've never met, people I've never seen, just lots of positivity. So like there is some pressure to perform and like be good, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I think I put like it, but it's all positive, so it doesn't like make me nervous really. Whereas I put so much pressure on myself like internally, I'm not worried about like letting other people down first. I'm more concerned about like letting myself down and not being the best that I can be. So the pressure, I put more pressure on myself to so that like the outside pressure doesn't get to me that much. Like, of
Makes
course, I don't
sense.
want to let people down, but like at the end of the day, I know like when I lost, I got so much support. So it's like even if I lose, I don't expect people to like drop me and be like, "Oh, you fucking suck."
Worst
If
bodybuilder
I'm gonna
ever.
say that to myself, like, so my internal pressure on myself is far more hard, I guess, or harsh than what I
Yeah.
get out.
I would say the opposite side of that, which is super cool, and I experienced it recently. And like the other side of it would be you never know how many people you're inspiring with your journey. So like I'll talk about this one actually. This is like my aunt. She's older. She's not in the best of health right now. And unbeknownst to me, she was following everything I was posting on social media and just following my journey. And after I got back from North Americans, obviously I lost, but she messaged me and she goes, "Can I tell you, I've been so depressed, but following your journey has given me like hope." And I was like, damn. I was like, I had no idea you were one feeling that way, and two finding inspiration, motivation, and me just doing what I'm passionate about. So I think that's kind of the cool part of social media, where you almost don't care about whatever outside pressure there is, because you realize like you actually are motivating and inspiring a lot of people that you didn't even know you were.
Yeah, and I feel like we've talked about this, but like for every one person that like directly tells you or messages you and says like you inspire me or you've helped me or whatever, there's probably at least 10 more people that think the same thing that just didn't like have the nuts to say it to you, or just maybe they were embarrassed. But if one person says that to you, there's probably at least 10 more that feel the same exact way. And like that is one of the best feelings. I'm sure when your aunt told you that, you were like probably felt so good about that. Like
Yeah.
that's a good feeling.
She's been having a rough time with just her health, and older woman falling downstairs, breaking hip type shit. So like obviously here I am at the peak of my health, and I don't even know that this is going on with her mental health. But when she shared it with me, yeah, it was very impactful, because again, I don't do this for anyone other than myself, but when you realize it's so much greater than yourself and it's more than just muscles like we always talk about, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So with that being said, would you guys, I mean, Sam obviously looks like he's going to go on to the Arnold Amateur in what, like 10 days and compete. You guys think he's turning pro right now, or no? Not ready. What do you think? You're pros. What do you guys think?
I think it's possible. Taylor, I was just talking. You want to go?
Well, do they give first and second pro? Is that just the overall gets a pro card, or how does that
I
work?
want to say it's top two, if I'm not mistaken,
Top
but
two in the class.
yeah, I think it's top two.
He's in my class, so um, yeah, he has to come in more shredded though, man. He like
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like it could have been stress, because I saw like because I did watch the video of him like when he was maybe a day out or something like that, and he looked his quads looked way more feathered.
Insane.
But
Insane.
then show day they were like he looked watery, man. So like I think that, and I mean, to be expected, bro, especially for him, like his first show.
Self-coached.
Plus there's more people watching that than the Super Bowl, man. Like, you got all these eyes on you. Like, I mean, I would be the same way. So I think if he can get over that and like shred down a little bit, yeah, self-coach too. I don't maybe, dude, I would hope that he found someone to coach him.
Opposing coach.
Yeah, or yeah, opposing coach, but also just another coach to peak him, right? Because I think if he does those things, he'd have a shot, man. I think he definitely would be if he can, like he's got the size for it for sure. So, and I think he was only like he was right at his weight cap. So, but I mean,
216. Well, here's what I'll say. And again, I'm an amateur, so my opinion doesn't really count. I think he's got a sick physique. I think he'll probably get top 5, but I would just have to imagine that somebody else relative to his size in the entire world is going to show up, and they're going to bring a better package. So it's not that his package isn't good, but also, again, you already know it's who shows up on that day. So clearly someone else from anywhere in the world is qualified. They're coming to that show because it's a worldwide show. It's the Arnold. So it's like a huge event. And I just think that there's going to be some guy relative to 216 that's going to be just 10 times nastier. And that's the unfortunate truth of this, where again, there's levels to this shit.
I think you're both right. I think there's with his physique where he's at now, and if he makes some improvements with his posing, conditioning, and his peak, maybe a little bit less stress, he has a chance. But taking what you said into consideration, Scott, top 5 I think is probably realistic, because there's got to be somebody who's competed longer than him that looks better than him. Like, he looks amazing, looks great, but like it is his first time. There were definitely some things that need to be improved between his posing, his conditioning. I didn't see a ton of great quality videos, but his legs did not look good on stage. And I don't know if that's posing or holding water or probably a little combination of both. But that is, while it's a great physique and while it's for his age and first time competing, that's amazing. He's not pro level with conditioning, posing, and presentation. really close. Like I said, hats off to him. I don't think he's quite there, but it depends on who shows up. If no one shows up, he might have it and look pretty good. But again, there's definitely room for him to get beat too.
Yeah. I think when I look at his physique right now, and again, 2.5 weeks between the Vegas show he did and the Arnold amateur. So there is a lot of time to improve, whether he started working with a coach, whether he pulled his posing trunks up and wore them correctly instead of sagging them, which made him look like a refrigerator too. But like, I think it's not if, it's just when, and I just don't think when is right now. That's my honest opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. I think honestly, him not having a coach is probably the biggest mistake because again, your posing is not going to be like your first show is probably going to be your worst show.
Yeah.
Your conditioning's not going to be the absolute best. Your posing's not going to be the best. He's got good size. I can't really knock his size. He's got good size.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why he wouldn't have a coach. Like he's got all the resources at his hands. I don't, unless he just wanted to try it. But if you're going for a pro card, I don't know why you wouldn't have a coach, especially when you have the.
Point. I mean, yeah, he could be coached by anybody, to be honest. So, like, you're 100% right. Like, if he DM'd Jeremy, you, me, any coach in the world, they'd be like, yes, I would love to work with you. Let's do this. So, like, you're right. If he really is serious about winning a pro card, whether it's right now or in the future, he's got to hire a coach.
Yeah, definitely. And especially like with little, like obviously some things with like conditioning and peak are going to be like coaching. And maybe he just doesn't know how to peak himself correctly yet, or just, obviously, how it is. We're biased when we look at ourselves during prep. Like we never think we look as good as we do, So I don't think self-coaching is ever good because it's hard to look at yourself with an unbiased eye, especially when you are depleted and exhausted and your brain's barely functioning.
Yeah.
Then yeah, if he gets a coach and like tweaks his peak a little bit, comes in just a little bit more conditioned, especially getting his legs to pop more, whether that's the peak or his posing, something's got to be done about his legs because his conditioning looked pretty good, but his legs weren't there from the front.
Yeah, there were some videos too where like the initial ones we were seeing in the morning, I think from prejudging, were obviously lower resolution. So like his quad sweep, for example, didn't look great compared to what Taylor's talking about, which I think is the clip before he took his first coat of tan. And like you could see every striation in his quads. Like it was insane. And then like the fall off in between, I think it was a lot to do with like low res quality camera footage. Cause then at night at finals, you saw a much different like look from the bottom half down, and still obviously a lot of room for improvement. But like, dude, for a first show, that's a crazy package to bring, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know why, like that. If he had a coach too, that would have taken so much stress off him because all you got to do is just listen. You know what I mean? So it's just like,
especially for your first show when you like don't have the experience.
right. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I would like to know why he didn't have a coach, but like, and I'm pretty sure, dude, Matt Jansen would probably come out of retirement to coach that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
imagine like, with how he looks already. If you have like 3 brain cells, you could coach him and make him look pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Well, that would be
maybe send him a DM, see if he's looking for a coach.
Not only that, but like also the fact that that guy, that everyone's watching him, and if you're like the guy coaching him, bro, you're gonna get so much like attention. And,
for sure.
So
could you imagine like
Stefan after Martin's
yeah.
debut?
Oh yeah,
he picked up 4 or 5 more like top pros after the Olympia with Martin.
Yeah. I know actually. The guy who won. Hey Scott, were you in class? What class are you in for Classic?
A.
You're an A. Okay, the guy who won Class B, he went to Stefan. Or
is that the ginger guy, Matt?
Matt, yeah.
Matt Hackett, dude, his physique's insane.
His physique's really crazy, bro. But yeah, he switched to Boss of Outlaw. So
everyone's working with him now. You know what? Actually, while we're talking about crazy physiques, have you guys seen? He's going to be doing the Detroit Pro coming up, but you know this guy Jack Eagles? Have you seen him on Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's crazy, bro.
22, I think.
Yeah, these fucking kids.
Bro, Taylor, what's in the water, man?
Dude, I was 24 when I turned pro, so I wasn't like old, but I wasn't young. I was kind of right in the middle there. But yeah, I don't know about like a lot of these guys, bro. Him and Anton too, bro. Like those two guys, because I think like Anton was 19, bro, and he took the overall at nationals. It's crazy, bro.
That's
His
just nuts.
his physique, we were talking about it last week. I mean, I had seen an update he posted recently, and he looks even bigger, better than he ever has before. So I'm like, dude, when this guy gets ready for a pro show, like, and again,
He's impressive.
relative, this is who you're competing against. So it's like, I get where you guys are coming from when you say you really got to bring it because you already know what the competition looks like.
Yeah,
So-
he's doing the Pittsburgh. I think he's doing the Pittsburgh Pro. Pretty sure.
That would make sense. And honestly, like going back to obviously how we all met at North Americans, like even though like I lost that show, I still had such a good time, met so many great people. Like I maybe I'll do Pittsburgh again as a pro qualifier. Like I loved that show, the way it was ran, expedited. Obviously Gilco photography, videography, which we all know is the best. So like, yeah, I have nothing bad to say about my North American experience other than I wish I would have won.
Yeah, plus North Americans is cool, bro, because it's like the only show that has only first place pro cards. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool, man. Because it's like, I mean, come on, first place pro card. Why would you want a second place pro card? You know?
Yeah, for real, for real. All right,
Yes.
I got a couple more for you guys, and then we'll wrap up today. All right, so let me ask you guys this. I don't know if you guys know anything about this, but let me get your thoughts on turkesterone. And the reason I ask is because everyone's debating right now, does it work? Does it not work? Me and my boys were joking about it in a YouTube video recently and not talking shit about like Greg Doucette and his products at all, because I actually like Greg a lot, but we mentioned him and he's been messaging me. He's like, I swear it works. Ask Will Tennyson, ironically. But so what are your guys' thoughts on turkesterone? I'm curious.
I mean, I don't know a ton. Like looking it up online, it sounds like there's some good information about it. I don't know if I've seen if there's like any like actual scientific studies on it, which is kind of important to me. Usually, when stuff like this comes around, I think the tried and true stuff is the best. All the stuff that we know about already was typically made for a pharmaceutical reason, for muscle wasting diseases, for malnutrition people. Anti-estrogens, may have been like an anti-cancer treatment. So all those things were made in like a pharmaceutical setting. There are scientific studies. They might not be bodybuilder studies, but we know they help gain muscle tissue. We know they work for the intended purposes. And we also know the possible side effects and issues with them. Whereas these new things like SARMs and peptides and MK66 and all those little things, I'm not saying anything necessarily about those ones, but yeah, I've heard good things about that, but at the end of the day, I prefer real growth hormone and just real gear because we know the good, we know the bad, and then you can make a proper like pros and cons list and make an educated decision on whether you want to use it or not. The turkesterone,
Turkesterone, yeah.
testosterone, it sounds good on paper from what I've seen. I don't know if there's like actual scientific studies on it. And I don't know what the possible problems are because I've seen a lot of people take different SARMs and stuff, and then their labs are trashed. And like, did it help you gain muscle or did it just wreck your blood work? Like, whereas, like I said, with the real stuff, we at least know what we're getting into. And I find it hard to believe that some of those things are going to be better than just straight gear, or more effective as far as muscle building and the effects we're looking for. Like I said, I'm not an expert on it, and I'm not trying to talk poorly about it. But if I don't know a lot about it, I'm just going to stick with what I know, the real stuff.
Taylor, what do you think? You think turkesterone's real or fake?
I mean, maybe it raises your test, bro. Maybe it does, but like, the thing about that is, I think even if you raise your testosterone by like 200 for like a natural person, I don't think that there's a lot of studies saying that like does much. Like even like 200, like if you go from like 600 to 800, like I think it does that. That's what I've seen is like it boosts it by like around that much. Maybe I'm not really sure. I mean, like I said, I don't know much about it either, to be honest, because like if you're
It's
on
new.
like if you're on yeah, and if you're on like actual testosterone, I don't really see a purpose for it there. But for natural people,
Right.
like I think bumping your test from like 6 to 800, like, I mean, if it makes you feel better, bro, like go for it. If it makes you train harder. Also, like there is something to placebo, man. Like I know, even though it might not like be like change exactly how you feel, like having a placebo effect actually does work. So like, I mean,
I'm la-
whatever
well,
helps.
Well, I'm laughing right now because before we went to the gym today, Kenny opens the cupboard. He goes, "You ever taken a Cialis before you lift?" I go, "No." And so like he's like, "Dude, you gotta try it. It's insane." And I was like, "All right, fuck it." So I take 5 milligrams before we go to the gym today. And kind of like the placebo effect. I'm sitting there and I'm hitting shoulders, which I normally get a really good pump anyways, but I was like, I can't tell. Am I getting a better pump today than normal, or is it the same? And like, obviously I've heard that from many people that using low doses of Cialis before you work out does obviously help with a variety of things for building muscle, controlling your heart rate, things like that. So I did it today for the first time, and I don't know if it really impacted my training or if it was that placebo effect like Taylor was talking about. So it's hard to know when obviously you're taking X, Y, or Z. So it's almost like my thoughts on Turkesterone is you need a genuine subject who you know is like 17, 18 years old, never touched anything, trained naturally, and let's see what those benefits are over 8, 12-week span, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cialis, bro, Cialis is good. Like, that actually, I don't know though if you take it right before you lift, I don't think because like that is the longer one, and Viagra would be the shorter one. So if you took Viagra, that peaks like way quicker, like 30 minutes, and I think it peaks. But Cialis takes a lot longer to peak. So Cialis you would take like in the morning or something like that, and then it like has a half life that's longer, but it
Yeah.
doesn't peak until like a little ways out. But yeah, dude, Cialis is really good. Like it's also good for blood pressure. So I think Cialis is like a good medication, especially for people who want to get sick pumps in the gym, bro.
Yeah, what kind of sick pump we talking? I had
Dude,
I
if
had
you
a
get popped
doctor who
up
I
for your
work
workout
with.
and Cialis in the morning, you
Uh,
should have a good pump.
Yeah. If you took Cialis, like tomorrow, you'll probably have a better pump than today from it. I don't know about five
that's
milligrams, but
Yeah, I've had a doctor that I work with who's prescribing testosterone in the past, and she actually had hit me up out of the blue and was like, "Hey, I've got a great idea how to increase your pumps in the gym." I was like, "Okay, I'm listening." And then she recommended Cialis, and I kind of joked with her. I said, "Doc, I go, if you write me a script for Cialis, I ain't using it for the gym. I'll tell you that. And then it's going to cause problems elsewhere in my life." And I'm like, I just don't need to go down that road. But again, like today when it was quote readily available in the cupboard, I'm like, we'll try it. It's not going to kill me.
yeah.
Let me ask you guys this while we're on like the topic of testosterone and just like going through different thoughts. What are your guys' thoughts of when it is appropriate for someone to jump on TRT or testosterone?
I mean, there's a distinction. Like testosterone, like obviously they're the same, but TRT is going to be based on your age and your blood levels. Like if you're 21 and you have a test of 800, 900, or 1,000, you don't need TRT.
Right.
If you're 40 and you have all the side effects of low T and your test at 300, absolutely. And like, especially like I look at a lot of people's blood work in my office, not just with my coaching clients. When I look at their blood work, if you're like, I've had patients that were like 27 and their test was like 200. So for whatever reason, I don't know the exact reason, but their test was extremely low. So they qualified for clinical TRT.
Right.
And this person also had like hypothyroidism as well. So they clinically qualify for TRT. So even though he's young and shouldn't need it, his lab work indicated it did. So I like recommended. I'm like, you should. You are giving me all the signs and symptoms of low T. Your blood work confirms it's low. So absolutely. As far as like just taking, testosterone for bodybuilding purposes, I always tell kids if they're younger, I'm like, wait until you're like 24, 25.
Yeah.
Your natural production is going to peak between like 18 and like 24. So if you're in the window, you should be, for the most part, if you're healthy, your test should be great in the first place. And you don't want to like stunt or, if you abuse them or do them poorly or don't have good guidance, you don't want to stunt your natural production when you're 20 by using a bunch of stuff and then screw yourself and have to be on TRT or more from 20 until, you die.
Yeah.
If you can refrain from ruining your body or, not need clinical TRT until you're 35, 45 or something, that's going to be more ideal. But again, for us, like we're all younger than that and we're on it for different reasons.
Right.
But like I always try to tell younger kids, I'm like, you should probably wait. That's technically the safest thing and best thing if I'm gonna be like a good person or like a doctor. Like that's what I should tell you. I didn't wait that long, but I
Yeah.
didn't have anybody telling me not to. Somebody just put it in my hand. It was readily available, like your Cialis, and I was like,
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, for me, like I didn't start until my late 20s, and it wasn't until I went, got blood work done, and I discovered kind of like where my levels were at. And then it explained why I was feeling more lethargic. I wasn't having good nights of sleep. So it was like one of those things where I saw such good benefits from it. like pretty quickly. And then obviously like the bodybuilding side of it too. But like whenever anyone asks me about hopping on, I'm like, well, what's your goal, right? Like, what's wrong? Why do you think you have low levels? Go get blood work first. And then I think obviously like I don't have anything wrong with people using it, but I think obviously it does get abused. And ironically, like I'm using the lowest dose I've ever used right now and getting some of the highest levels I've ever had. So it doesn't mean more is more. Sometimes less is actually more.
Yeah, and I think like you said, goals is a big thing. So if I step back from being like the good guy, the doctor,
Not
and
medical
a
advice.
bodybuilder, if you are going to start them younger, get your blood work done, get someone who knows what they're doing. Because if you're 20 and you like say you're dead set on, becoming a pro and you want to compete and like you're truly set on this, you're not just a gym bro or an Instagram influencer, and you're like dead set on doing it, get your blood work done, get someone who knows what they're doing. That way you can safely do it at that age and not like ruin your body, ruin your liver, kidneys, heart, etc. Because you if you do it smart, you can do it relatively safely. Of course, nothing is without risk, but I've been doing it for a while now, and I've been very safe and used a lot lower doses than people probably think. So if there is a young kid watching this, you shouldn't do it. But if you're going to, be safe.
Don't do drugs. Taylor, when did you start using testosterone?
You want to know what's crazy, bro? I started 2 years ago, January 1st of this year. So that was my New Year's resolution, bro. It was like in 2023, January 1st, 2023.
That's my New Year's
started.
resolution.
Yeah, bro. That was my New Year's resolution. But
You're new me.
I was 23. I was 23 years old. And in my head, I was like, I was lifting still. Actually, I was living with a dude I met in the gym, and we both wanted to like lift and like be next to the gym. So we trained together and did all that. And I was dialed in and quit drinking, wasn't doing anything. And then I was like, okay, if I can do this for a while and stay dedicated, then I'll think about adding things. And like before that, dude, I did like rad 140 or whatever, like those SARMs or something, whatever.
Yeah.
I've done that. I did that stuff before, but like it doesn't really do much, bro. That stuff made me feel worse than any kind of anabolic I've ever taken, bro. Like rad 140 messed with my head, dude. But so I would never recommend taking SARMs, that's for sure. But yeah, so I started then, and my first cycle, I think it was like 300 milligrams. I didn't have a coach or anything at the time. I did like 300 milligrams of test, and dude, I gained like 40 pounds in like the first like 4 months, bro. It was crazy. It was sick. Like, you get those like
Yeah.
newbie gains when you're
Newbie gains for sure.
fresh. Yeah. So that was sweet. And then I started working with Jeremy because I'm like, dude, I got to be safe about this because honestly, like once I saw the gains, bro, I kept adding more and more and more. And there's a point where because I didn't know what I was doing, dude. I was listening to some dudes in the gym tell me what to do. They're like, "Oh yeah, you just titrate it up and do all, and then add Deca and all this stuff." So all of a sudden, dude, next thing you know, I'm like, "What am I even doing right now, bro?" And I did it backwards too because I did add NPP or Deca or one of the two. Can't remember which one. But dude, I think you're supposed to run those like you're supposed to run your testosterone double of that. And I did it the opposite, bro. So I ran Deca double the testosterone. And I don't know, I read it on the internet. So I was like, oh, it's got to be right.
Must be true. Yeah.
Yeah, I had so many problems, dude. Like, I was just like, not fun. I was like, my mind was all messed up, bro. Like, I didn't want to get out of bed. Like, dude, I had other problems, like, just not good. And then I was like, I got to start working with a coach, bro. So I found your, then the rest is history. But yeah, it was good, bro. Like, I mean, but then my mindset going into that was, okay, if I'm doing this now, there's no excuse for me not to be the biggest guy in the gym. So like, I can't look at people and that's my excuse is like, oh, he's on gear. That's why he looks like that. Cause now I'm like at that same level. So now I have to be like holding a higher standard for myself. Like I haven't drank in 2 years now. Like I haven't drank since I started. So
it's funny you say that because I almost feel like as serious bodybuilders, the more serious you get with it, you kind of start to eliminate, when I say the other drugs, alcohol, other substances, because you recognize you've taken this risk by going down this enhanced route that now you're almost like scared of combining X, Y, or Z with what you're already doing on top of that. So I think it's being self-aware and being conscious. But recently, like I had a younger guy talk to me and he goes, dude, I think I've hit my genetic ceiling. And I started laughing. I was like, you're not even close. He goes, how do you know? I go, you've been training with me for 2.5 months. It's just not possible to hit your genetic ceiling in 2.5 months. I go, but if you do think you have low testosterone levels, I recommend getting them checked. I'm not saying jumping on because you think you're at your peak condition, like, oh, I've maxed out, time to go to the next level. No, it was, okay, well, if you feel like your sleep is off, your strength is off, your sexual performance is off, maybe something hormonally is imbalanced, like, let's get your blood work and see what's going on inside before we just start injecting needles.
Yeah, and I think Taylor made a good point too. If you are going to start, you got to have everything else is dialed in. Because if you're not training right, if you're not eating right, it doesn't matter if you hop on gear. Like it's not going to like take you from 80 to 100. You have to have all that other stuff dialed in and like have your drinking under control or not drinking at all to make it worth it. It's already a risk, and when we're taking the risk using that stuff, you want to get the maximum benefit possible and the least amount of side effects possible. So that means not drinking, training your ass off, eating properly, resting properly, getting enough sleep, like all that stuff. If you can't do that stuff without it, then there's no point in doing it. It's not going to be as beneficial as it should be, and it could increase the risk of side effects and other, things we don't want.
So
the
let's wrap on this one today, and I'll ask you guys this last one. Taylor and I were kind of talking about this earlier today before you hopped on. So obviously we know alcohol is toxic, it's poisonous, it's not good to mix with any anabolic compounds. But what are your thoughts? I mean, obviously marijuana is so recreational, pretty legal in most places. What are your guys' thoughts on like recreational marijuana use?
I think when it comes to bodybuilding, I don't think there's a problem as long as you don't like get lazy or start eating trash. If you can do it to help you sleep or maybe even to help increase your appetite when you're in the off season, that might be an okay like tool to use. And again, as long as you're still training, doing all the things, like as long as you don't let it stop you from doing the things that you need to do or decrease your performance or adherence, then it might be good. And again, sometimes it might be beneficial to help you sleep at night or increase your appetite. From like a more scientific life thing, I've started to hear a little bit like chronic or extended use can have an effect on like memory and stuff like that. I haven't done a lot of research, so I'm not entirely sure, but that's something to maybe take into consideration. But as far as like bodybuilding, like I said, if you can control yourself and not have the munchies and still do everything else that you need to do with like legitimate effort and discipline, I don't see it as a bad thing. Whereas alcohol it's not good no matter what. I like the taste of whiskey, but it's not good for me no matter what. Like there's no way to spin that in a positive light. Like
Yeah.
it's literally a poison.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think smoke, like I know a lot of guys who do it in bodybuilding. I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think that it has its place too, like everything else. And I think like everything else, less is more. But I think that like when I was in prep, bro, I smoked weed quite a bit to help me sleep mainly. Or I had these drop, like it's legal in Michigan, so I get like these dropper things or something, whatever, like the vapes. But honestly, like since that I haven't. And mainly for a couple of reasons. Honestly, for me, it just makes me like really lazy. But also, I think that everything has its like rebounds and like bad things. Like you can't do all these things and expect no side effects, right? And I think even that for marijuana, I know that weed use over time will spike your cortisol levels. Like I know that it makes you feel chill and all that stuff, but there's a rebound after that, right? Where it pops back up. So, and I know a lot of people whose adrenals were just shot from smoking weed all the time. And they're like, their adrenaline was, I don't know the exact science behind it, but I do know that like that is a problem with like your cortisol getting elevated and stuff like that from chronic use. But like once in a while, man, like if you're just like on a weekend or something like that, I think it's fine. And I know a lot of people who train like that's like their pre-workout. Like
Right.
we're just talking about him, Martin. I know he's a big guy like that does that kind of stuff. Like he smokes before he trains and all that stuff. But it affects everyone differently, man. So like it's just kind of
Right.
if you have an addictive personality, it's definitely something you want to at least be able to control and like know when you're getting to a point where it's like okay, like I need to like cut it back or something like that. But yeah, and I think
Yeah.
we all have addictive personalities, man. Like we all have
Yeah.
that kind of like it's either we're doing it 100% or we're not doing it all. So like for me, I just try try to keep it out unless it's like a phase where it helps me sleep or something like that. Then you can add it in. But yeah, even at the end of prep, I cut it out because of that, like that cortisol spike. Like you don't want to have those extra stressors on your body, especially when you're running gear really high and doing everything else that makes you have stress. The fatigue management is really important. So
I think that's a good thing that you use it as a tool as needed for a certain amount of time. But like you said, sometimes like less is more. You kind of used it as a tool when it was beneficial, but then you come off like when you were off prep, so you're not dependent on it. Like, because that's something that you could easily write off as like, I use it to sleep in prep when I can't sleep very well. The sleep quality's trash, and we need to make sure our recovery is on point. And that can easily carry off into the off season. And like, well, I just smoke every night, like a little bit before bed to help me sleep. And now you're smoking weed every single day, which it's not as bad as alcohol, obviously, but it's still not good to be dependent on any substance really.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good point. Like you kind of use it as a tool, but you also know how to control it and like use it when needed, but not constantly. Because of course,
yeah, and I know the sleep quality off of it isn't as good either. Like it's better than not sleeping at all, because that's what I would have been doing, is not sleeping at all. But like you don't get the same REM, I think. Like your cycles are all messed
No,
up.
that's true.
You don't get into deep sleep. Like I know a lot of people, they don't dream at all. Like they said that they stopped dreaming once they were, smoked weed
Yeah.
for X amount of time or whatever like that. So it's just, messing with those different receptors in your brain and stuff like that over time, I think is damaging. And so like I just am careful with that, But
I look at it all like when I say variables, like it's just to me another variable. So like a lot of people swear by it. A lot of people will use it as pre-workout, claiming that it helps with mind-muscle connection, or they just enjoy their music, things like that. But I think like there's such a fine line between using something and abusing it. And a lot of people don't have that willpower to say, like you did, Taylor, where you're like, okay, during prep it was beneficial, but I don't need this to function as a normal human being, right? Whereas most people then, kind of like Justin said, parlay that into their every single day life. And then it starts to affect other areas where they're getting fat, they're being lazy, they're not productive. So everything affects everyone differently. But I think at the end of the day, like it's like anything. And especially us as bodybuilders who like, we have such a hard line where we're like, I will do this, I won't do that. I'm going to do this, I'm not going to do that. Where like, you can just basically quit something cold turkey and you're fine because you weren't addicted to it. You were leveraging it for your benefit. So
yeah, but I do have an addiction though. I will say I'm addicted to Zins, bro.
everyone is right now. I don't do them. I don't do them, but everyone loves the Zins.
Yeah, that is my addiction. Like I've been addicted to that for a while now, since I was like 16. So yeah, but I'm trying to quit.
All right. Well, I don't want to keep you guys much longer. I know Team USA is about to go battle it out with Team Canada. Justin's probably itching to go watch that. I'm gonna go watch it too. Throw a little money down on Prize Picks and hopefully USA wins. But before we wrap up, anything else you guys want to add today? Taylor, I really appreciate you taking the time to hop on. You're absolute homie, and we'll definitely bring you back on again. But just thank you for sharing, obviously, like your journey, your North American experience. And bro, I'm so grateful I did that show, because I probably wouldn't have this relationship with you had I have not,
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. It's been a blast. I enjoyed talking to you. Justin, I haven't really talked to you too much, so it was really good getting to know you, man.
Yeah, it's good getting to know you and see you again.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what's cool though is like about this, I've gotten so much feedback already of people saying like, we love it, this, that, and the other, but it's also like, it's so dope. We're like, obviously I think Taylor's watched maybe a little bit of the first episode. So obviously like he's gotten to learn a little bit more of who Justin is, how he operates, same with me. And so it's kind of one of those things where it's just so cool, because at the end of the day, bodybuilding is connecting all of us. And I mean, you're in Tampa, I'm in Vegas right now, Justin's in St. Louis, but all we need is a Wi-Fi connection and boom, here we are.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's dope. Dope. Justin, you got anything you wanna add before we wrap up?
Oh, fucking go USA. Canada can suck a dick.
We're Team USA. We're going all the way. All right,
No,
guys.
yeah, it was good
next
chatting.
time.
And it's good seeing you, Taylor.
Yeah, see you, boys. Thanks again for having me. It was awesome.
All right.
cool.
Hey, love you guys. Peace.